I've been divorced 9 times. And every single time, I went to the same lawyer. By the 10th, even he looked at me and said, "You've been busy this year." I raised an eyebrow and smiled. "Wasn't this the path you introduced me to?" He let out a low snort and tossed the divorce papers onto my desk. "I'm your first ex-husband, not your personal divorce attorney. Stop coming to me every time you end a marriage." Later, when all 9 of my ex-husbands showed up trying to win me back, he blocked them at the door, grabbed my wrist, and growled through clenched teeth, "We're going abroad to get married. The kind you can't walk away from." I shook his hand off and echoed his old words right back at him. "Sorry. You're just a substitute." Chapter 1. I walked into the law firm again, handbag in hand, and placed the required documents on the desk. "Could you draft another divorce agreement for me, counselor?" The man who had been reviewing files finally looked up. Behind his gold-rimmed glasses, his eyes narrowed slightly. I met his gaze with a raised brow and an easy smile. "What, is that how you treat your clients? Should I file a complaint?" Ethan glanced at me, expression unchanged. I tapped my fingers against the desk. Only then did he look at me properly, irritation clear in his eyes. "There are plenty of lawyers here who specialize in divorce cases. You don't have to come to me every time." "But I trust you," I said, watching him seriously. In the end, he gave in. "ID, marriage certificate. Any children? How do you want the assets divided?" I pulled out a chair and sat down calmly. "No kids, no shared property. I'm at fault. I'll walk away with nothing." His fingers froze over the keyboard. He took a slow breath, visibly restraining his temper. "This is the 10th time, Anna. What exactly are you trying to pull? You've been divorced 10 times in 1 year. Every single time, you're the one at fault, and every single time you filed the moment the waiting period ends. Do you treat marriage like a joke?" I looked at him, eyes wide and innocent. Did I break the law? No. Then what's the problem? Love, marriage, divorce, they're all my choices. How is any of this your business? His expression stiffened. "It's not. But I'm also one of your ex-husbands. Don't you think it's inappropriate to keep coming to me?" Chapter 2. Not appropriate? I tilted my head and smiled at him. "Isn't that what you taught me?" He didn't bother responding. He simply tossed the printed divorce agreement onto the desk. "I hope this is the last time. From your lips to God's ears." I picked up the papers and stood to leave. Outside the law firm, a sports car was parked by the curb. A young man was waiting beside it, dressed in a loose baseball jacket, a cap pulled low over his eyes. He leaned there lazily, watching me with a careless grin. He was my current husband, Ryan, the second son of a wealthy business family. Carefree, unmotivated, addicted to freedom. And about to become my ex-husband. "Did it go smoothly?" he asked. I waved the agreement in my hand. "All set. Take a look. If there's no problem, we can officially end this marriage." He skimmed through the papers, then gave me a strange look. "I thought you'd make excuses not to divorce me, like all the women before, asking for breakup money and dragging it out." I gave him a professional smile. "Please don't insult my work ethic. This is what I'm paid to do. You can contact me again during the waiting period if needed." Ryan curled his lips, looking slightly disappointed. "Well, thanks. If it weren't for you, my family would have already forced me into blind dates and married me off to some socialite I don't even like." I patted his shoulder. "Don't worry. I won't announce the divorce for now. How long you can keep it quiet depends on how hard you try." "Yes. I'm a contract wife. Most of my clients are high-end, single, rich, good-looking, and completely uninterested in marriage. Some want to escape family pressure. Some simply can't find the right person. Some need a wife for business appearances but don't want the trouble afterward. That's where I come in." I play the role of the perfect wife. We sign a prenup. Once their business is done, we divorce. They pay well. Strictly money. No extra feelings. I was just about to say goodbye to my soon-to-be ex-husband. Chapter 3. When I looked up, I saw a luxury car parked by the curb. A stunning woman stepped out. She froze for a split second when she saw me. We were dressed almost exactly the same. A soft pink knit dress. A light beige cardigan. That gentle, stepmom chic style that had been trending everywhere lately. The difference was, hers was designer. Limited edition. Mine was a knockoff. She glanced at me, the corner of her lips curling into a mocking smile. I knew her. Lena. The industry's newest darling, fresh off a major acting award, the kind of star who'd shot to fame overnight. A real celebrity. Not long after, a tall man in a tailored suit walked out of the law firm. Ethan. Lena hurried over and wrapped her arm around his. I've been waiting forever. You didn't reply to my messages, so I came to find you. You're not mad, are you? For someone who was usually ice cold, Ethan actually smiled. Let's go. I just finished work. What do you feel like eating? Lena didn't answer. Instead, she glanced sideways at me, half smiling. Your ex-wife is here again? No wonder you didn't reply. I was standing right there. Her voice wasn't loud, but it was perfectly clear to all four of us. It wasn't strange that Lena and I knew each other. We'd gone to the same arts school. She debuted at the top. I, on the other hand, looked just enough like her that once she became famous, I conveniently became her substitute. Yes. The scenes she didn't want to shoot? I did them. Even my marriage to Ethan had happened because of her. She was the goddess. The white moonlight. I was the substitute. Back in school, Ethan and Lena's relationship had been all anyone talked about. Then she hit it big and dumped him without hesitation, afraid he'd hold back her career. In a fit of anger, Ethan turned to me, Lena's cheaper version, and married me instead. I was clueless for a long time. Until after a long, messy series of misunderstandings, the two of them got back together. Ethan generously gave me half the assets, dumped me, and returned to the original. That ridiculous move flipped a switch in my brain. If pretending to be someone's wife paid this well, why stop at 1? Why not 10? This paid far better than being a stunt double. Ethan glanced at me, then at Ryan beside me. She's here for another divorce. Another? Lena clicked her tongue, eyeing me with disdain before shifting her gaze to Ryan. Looks like your standards have really dropped. First you married Ethan as my stand-in, now you've found a new way to scam money? I snapped my fingers and grinned shamelessly. Yeah, can't compete with you. My ex is just an ordinary rich kid, nothing special. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Ryan freeze. The so-called ordinary rich kid raised an eyebrow, pulled off his cap, and revealed a handsome face. He casually wrapped an arm around my shoulders. True. I'm only worth a few $100 million. Nothing impressive. Then he tilted his head at me. So, ex-wife, what are you planning to do with the tens of millions you got from the divorce? Chapter 4. I almost wanted to give Ryan a thumbs up. That line hit hard. Lena might be a big star now, but she'd only risen in the past 2 or 3 years. Her background was average, she'd changed her fate with nothing but her face. Not long ago, she'd even declared to the media that she didn't need to marry into money because she was already her own rich family. Whether she was actually worth that much was another question. I knew Ryan was backing me up, so I played along. First, I'll buy a yacht. Then a private estate. Then I'll buy an entertainment company and make a certain A-list star my personal stand-in. Ryan nodded approvingly. Not bad. At least you're thinking about building an empire instead of wasting money. Looks like my influence rubbed off on you. Sure enough, I watched the smile freeze on Lena's face. She glanced at Ryan, clearly trying to place him. Then she let out a forced laugh. To her credit, she was still an actress. In an instant, her aggressive edge melted into soft innocence as she turned to Ryan. You probably don't know this, but Anna is that kind of woman. Money matters more to her than feelings. You should be careful. Don't let yourself get played. As she spoke, she deliberately tucked her hair behind her ear and tightened her grip around Ethan's arm. Our reservation is coming up, Ethan. Let's go. No need to waste time on irrelevant people. Before leaving, she even stepped forward to ask Ryan for his number. Right in front of Ethan. I couldn't help smiling. Ryan swayed lazily on his heels. Careful, superstar. I'm a married man, well, technically in the waiting period. I can't betray my wife. I'll have to decline any flirtation. Lena left with her face dark as thunder. Ethan didn't look much better. He stared at me, clearly wanting to say something, then stopping himself. Good. We'd disgusted both of them. They drove off in their luxury car. I turned to Ryan and held out my hand. So, ex-husband, is that huge payout you promised still on the table? He clapped my hand with a grin. Huge payout? Please. I don't have that kind of money. Didn't we agree on a service fee? And can I pay in installments? Great. I'd run into someone even more shameless than me. No. No delays. Not a cent less. If you short me, I'm going straight to your house to cry, scream, and make a scene. He didn't even blink. Or we could make this real. Marry for real. Then all my money is yours. Interested? Dream on. I'm a professional. A business-minded professional. Chapter 5. After parting ways with Ryan, I went straight to the bank. Sure enough, not long after, the payment hit my account. I took a deep breath and checked the balance. Good. I was one step closer to my first major goal. Then my phone rang again. Caller ID, ex-husband number 9. Hi, Anna. There's a family gathering this Saturday at 8. I'll need you to attend. Same arrangement as usual. I'll transfer the fee. Ex-husband number 9 is a top-tier surgeon. His name is Lucas. 32 years old. Always buried in work. No interest in dating. He couldn't escape family pressure, so he hired me to play his wife. We finalized our divorce last month, but per contract, I'm still obligated to appear as his wife for 6 months after. Business was booming. I pushed Ethan and Lena out of my mind. No man is important enough to get in the way of my income. That's right. I'm here to make money. Chapter 6. Saturday night. I changed into something casual and homey, simple, comfortable, but far from cheap. Some investments are necessary. No matter what, I wasn't about to embarrass my employer. Lucas is always busy, mildly socially anxious, fond of quiet, and a hardcore clean freak, so I took a cab to the address he gave me. He was already waiting. A white casual jacket, tall and lean, every strand of hair perfectly in place. His handsome features carried a natural coolness, distant but refined. Even before I reached him, I caught the faint scent of disinfectant. I glanced down at my own outfit. Perfect. White as well. For someone with his level of cleanliness, anything else might as well be dirt. He nodded slightly when he saw me and extended his hand in a gentlemanly way. I looked at his spotless white gloves, laughed awkwardly, and didn't dare touch him. Instead, I slipped on the lace gloves I'd prepared in advance before hooking my arm through his. The tension in his brow eased immediately. We walked into an elegant European-style villa in an upscale neighborhood. They called it a family gathering, but there were easily 30 or 40 people inside, and everyone was already seated. Great. We were late. Being the last to arrive is basically a public execution. No sooner had I sat down than a well-dressed woman beside Lucas's mother spoke up. Mrs. Walker, you're hard to catch. You never join us. I heard you're a full-time housewife. So what do you do all day at home? What do I do? Count money, obviously. My time is billed by the second, okay? Lucas frowned and looked at her. I kept my expression calm and replied gently, Lucas works late every day. As his wife, it's only natural that I take care of the household and also work on myself. Being a full-time housewife is simply because he cares about me and respects my choices. I'm actually very independent. Translation, mind your own business. My husband is happy to provide. The woman froze. I placed my hand over Lucas's. Right, honey. A rare smile appeared on his face. Exactly. The atmosphere was perfectly smooth until an unwelcome voice cut in. Oh. A full-time housewife? So Anna has no other income? Does she just live off Lucas? That doesn't sound very independent. I looked up. Ethan. And beside him, Lena. One in a sharp suit. One in an extravagant gown. In the middle of this so-called family gathering, they stood out like they were walking a red carpet. Ethan's gaze on me was cold and sharp. I hadn't expected to see him here. Lucas had given me a guest list in advance, and Ethan was definitely not on it. Chapter 7. Lucas leaned over and explained in a low voice that Ethan had been hired as the company's legal counsel at a high rate. Apparently, his mother liked him, so she'd invited him to the family gathering. In a year and a half of doing this was the first time I'd ever had two ex-husbands collide in the same room. But it was fine. I wasn't panicking. So he wanted to embarrass me in public? Fine. I could play too. I kept a pleasant smile on my face and instinctively leaned closer to Lucas. Honey, I think someone is questioning me. Everyone knows how to play the innocent act. To his credit, Lucas was a solid employer. He replied calmly, of course she has other income. My wife's private ventures are just small side projects. They don't compare to everyone else's, so there's no need to bring them up. Ethan gave a cold laugh. After taking his seat, he clearly wasn't done. What kind of investments are we talking about? Maybe I can give Anna some professional advice. He kept saying my name, loud and clear, like he wanted everyone to know we were familiar. Even Lucas noticed. He tightened his grip on my hand and looked at me with concern. You know him? Know him? He's ex-husband number 1. The man who started all of this. I looked straight at Ethan. Mr. Walker, you're a lawyer, right? Big on professional ethics. Since when do you cross into investment consulting? If he said one more word, I was going to tear his mouth apart. He finally shut up. But Lena, who'd been silent all this time, couldn't sit still. For a big star, she had zero presence among these wealthy women. She needed attention. She needed the spotlight. She glanced at me, then at Lucas, then covered her mouth in exaggerated shock. Oh. Anna, wait, didn't I just see you at Ethan's law firm a few days ago, handling a divorce agreement? And now you're Lucas's wife? Ethan, have I been filming too much lately? Am I seeing things? One sentence, and the room exploded. Every gaze snapped toward us. Even Lucas stiffened beside me, his jaw tightening, fingers rubbing unconsciously at his wrist. He was angry. This was bad. I stood up abruptly. My eyes reddened as I faced Lena, my voice trembling. Lena, what exactly are you implying? As a public figure, you should be careful with your words. Lucas and I have been married for over a year. We don't attend many events, but that doesn't give anyone the right to stir up rumors about our marriage. Lena blinked, then quickly recovered. Her lips curled in satisfaction. Rumors? This is more than rumors. You've already changed men. And you're still pretending? Damn it. She wasn't biting. She was here to destroy me. Lucas's parents finally snapped out of their shock. His mother demanded sharply, Ms. Lena, is what you're saying true? Lena lifted her chin, feigning kindness. Lucas and his wife, please don't be too upset. I know Anna. We went to college together. You probably don't know this, but she was already notorious back then. Loan sharks used to show up on campus looking for her. Her own mother jumped off the school building. She paused, watching the room. What kind of family produces a decent person? I pitied her and let her be my stand-in. And what do you think happened? She tried to sleep her way to a role. Sneaking out at night to see producers, hoping to trade her body for opportunities. She laughed softly. Anna, should I keep going? Or are you done lying to everyone? She looked at me like she was enjoying a show. And just like that, every eye in the room turned cold. Disgusted. Judging. The same way they had back then. I slowly curved my lips into a smile and tightened my grip around my wine glass. Chapter 8. I was seriously considering how many months in jail I'd get for ruining her face. Right then, Lucas, who had been silent the entire time, suddenly stood up. He placed a hand over mine and smoothly pulled me into his arms. Calmly, he looked around the room. My apologies, everyone. My wife and I have had some disagreements recently, but divorce has never been an option. I didn't expect certain people to twist that into rumors. I'm sorry. If I had known, I wouldn't have brought her here to be humiliated and falsely accused. Then he turned to me, his gaze steady and sincere. Love, you've been wronged. I was so moved I nearly teared up. I leaned into his shoulder, putting on a perfect show of quiet vulnerability, even as I patted him discreetly in gratitude. Where else do you find an employer like this? I almost messed up and blew my cover, and this socially anxious man stepped in to clean it up for me. I decided on the spot, he was getting a discount. Beside us, Ethan stood up as well. He grabbed Lena's arm, cutting off whatever she was about to say, and adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses. Lena, you've had too much to drink. Then he looked at the others. My apologies. My girlfriend has been filming non-stop and seems to be confusing reality with her roles. I've never seen Ms. Anna at my law firm. We only met briefly at a social event. Lena stared at him in shock. I hadn't expected Ethan to let me off the hook. Chapter 9. The family gathering ended on an awkward note. Lucas took me with him as we left. But just as we reached the garden, we ran into Ethan, who claimed he was taking Lena home. It was obvious he'd been waiting. The two men faced each other, tension thick in the air. Lucas removed his jacket and draped it over my shoulders. It's chilly at night. Don't catch a cold. Only then did he look at Ethan. Mr. Walker. What can I do for you? Ethan's gaze stayed fixed on the jacket around me. His voice was hard. I want to speak with Anna. Lucas curled his lips slightly, looking him over with thinly veiled disdain. That may not be appropriate. Your girlfriend just attacked my wife. She needs rest. Is that so? Ethan replied coolly. Then may I ask Anna herself? I'd like to apologize. I wanted to say no. But this was something I needed to talk to Ethan about. He'd handled so many of my divorce agreements. He knew every one of my ex-husbands. And his appearance at Lucas's family gathering didn't feel accidental. I looked at Lucas apologetically. Could you wait in the car for me? 5 minutes. He was a gentleman, even though I could feel his anger. He tightened his grip on my hand, then released it, carefully straightening my slightly rumpled clothes. Leaning close, he murmured, "Don't worry. I'll be right here. Call me if you need anything." Then he pressed a light kiss to the top of my head. Possessive. Deliberate. His breath brushed my cheek, warm and close. I froze, staring at him. That was the first time Lucas had ever come that close to me. Before leaving, he shot Ethan a cold look. The moment he was gone, Ethan strode toward me, closing the distance. Anna, are you still not going to tell me what you're really doing? 3 days ago, you filed for divorce with that rich kid. Now you're here attending a family gathering with another ex-husband. What kind of shady game are you playing? Chapter 10. I looked up at him and smiled faintly. Shady business? Mr. Walker, you're a lawyer. You should choose your words carefully. I haven't broken the law. I haven't hurt anyone's interests. I'm just attending a dinner with my ex-husband. Since when does that make me dirty? Ethan grabbed my wrist. He stepped in close, his body pressing toward mine. His eyes narrowed behind the gold frames, something like realization flickering in them. After a long moment, he looked as if he'd seen through me. So what Lena said, about you seducing producers. Is that true? I looked at him with open disdain. If you've already decided it is, what's the point of me saying anything? If that's all you wanted to ask, then I'm done here. I turned to leave. He blocked my way. His expression was conflicted. You're doing this on purpose. To make me jealous. That's why you're behaving like this, isn't it? Anna, you know I only love Lena. Doing all this for me isn't worth it. You're ruining your own reputation. I almost gagged. In this world, nothing is more terrifying than an average man with blind confidence. Yes, I kept going back to Ethan to draft my divorce agreements. Part of it was revenge. But I also knew him. He wouldn't leak a client's information. Not even to someone close to him. If he would, Lena would have known long ago that I'd had 10 husbands. I don't have feelings for him anymore. If I ever did, it was back then. Back when he handed me the divorce papers and told me I was just Lena's substitute. I had been disappointed. I'd thought he was my salvation. He answered me with reality. I was a replacement. Lena was right about one thing. My family had been chased by loan sharks. We used to be well off. My father made his fortune in real estate. We weren't small time. In my junior year of college, his company was exposed for quality issues. Overnight, the press turned. Investors pulled out. To keep things running, he borrowed heavily from private lenders. It wasn't enough. The company went bankrupt. Creditors swarmed our home, hauling away anything of value. In the middle of an argument, my father's blood pressure spiked. He died on the spot. My mother, desperate, tried to sell me off to a man in his 50s in exchange for protection. I refused. So she went to my campus. And jumped. That was when I realized my dreams meant nothing. My family was gone. I drifted through life, orphaned, buried in debt. I wanted fame. I wanted to act. I wanted money to pay it all back. But I didn't have that kind of luck. Then Ethan appeared like light. He cleaned everything up. All he asked was that I marry him. I gave him everything. Treated him like my savior. And what did I get? I looked at Ethan and smiled. Tears slipped out anyway. Just assume I'm doing all of this for you, I said softly. But I still need you to keep my secret. I need money. A lot of it. You can't give me that. So consider this repayment. For what you owed me back then. After this, I won't bother you again. Chapter 11. I left the garden. Lucas was already waiting in the car. When he saw that I wasn't in a great mood, he didn't ask. He just drove in silence. Are you okay? Sorry about tonight. I almost wrecked your family gathering. But I'm still charging half, okay? I joked. The corner of his mouth lifted slightly. He reached over and fastened my seatbelt for me, careful and gentle. Don't worry. You'll get every cent. Putting you in a position to face those rumors was my responsibility. I should compensate you more. I really do like rich people. They heal emotional damage with money. It's a great quality. Your parents. He hesitated. Oh, they passed away a long time ago. It's not important. Next time I'll make up a perfect family background. Won't mess up again. He braked sharply. Took a slow breath. Pulled off his white gloves and turned to look at me. His gaze was serious. Almost reverent. You know that's not what I meant. I just don't know you well enough yet, Anna. I want to. Will you give me that chance? I blinked. Sure. I'll send you my profile again. Don't worry, I'll be thorough. We'll cover all our bases. Thanks again for saving me back there. He frowned slightly. That's not what I meant. And that kiss just now. Oh, that? I waved it off. I know you were acting. To keep Ethan from bothering me. Relax. I'm not charging you for that one. He went quiet. The air thickened. I reached for the door handle. It wouldn't open. I looked at him, surprised. He leaned closer, his cool expression inches from mine. Long fingers lifted, as if to touch my cheek, then stopped in midair. That kiss, he said quietly, wasn't acting. I stared at him. The space between us suddenly felt dangerous. He exhaled and unlocked the door. Sorry. I startled you. I bolted. I'm here. Thanks for the ride, ex-husband number 9. Number 9? Yeah. There are 8 before you. He was about to ask more. I was already out of the car. No way. Rule number 1 in this line of work, no personal feelings with clients. It slows down income. And I am a professional money-making machine. Chapter 12. The family gathering incident was just a small interruption. But it was enough to set off alarm bells. I needed to clean up my relationships with these ex-husbands. Immediately. Next time, I might not get off so easily. So I terminated the contracts with ex-husbands number 1 through number 8. Yes, that meant losing extra income streams. But honestly, I'd already made enough. Once I wrapped up things with ex-husband number 10, Ryan, and ex-husband number 9, Lucas, my family's debts should be completely cleared. Still, I couldn't help wondering. These men are rich, good-looking, and successful. Why are they so allergic to real relationships? Hiring a fake wife just to avoid dating, what a waste of money. But I'm grateful to them. As long as it doesn't cross legal or moral lines, I'll do the job. That was when I received a message from ex-husband number 8. He asked me out to dinner. Said he was a man who believed in ritual. Even ending a contract deserved a proper farewell meal. I didn't suspect a thing. Ex-husband no. 8 was a minor actor. The least impressive of all my fake husbands. But he was smooth, sweet-talking, and had a harmless, boyish face. The reason he'd hired me was ridiculous. His crush had gotten a boyfriend. He couldn't accept it. So he wanted a marriage certificate to throw in her face. He found me through connections. We got married. A week later, we divorced. That was it. I'd been debating whether to cut off contact entirely. Then he offered a farewell fee. A large one. Impressive. Getting paid that much just to have dinner? Only an idiot would say no. So I dressed up and went, determined to leave a good impression. That was when he told me he was a public figure and didn't want paparazzi. He asked me to come straight to his place instead and sent the address. I didn't think twice. Actors. The less famous they are, the more dramatic they act. Standard behavior. I put on a cap and mask, dressed like a delivery worker, and slipped into his building. The moment I knocked, ex-husband number 8 yanked the door open and pulled me inside. Chapter 13. The apartment lights were off. He'd set up a candlelit dinner in advance. Steak. Red wine. And he reeked of alcohol. I frowned and dodged his hand. Thanks for the effort, but I don't eat steak. Sorry, buddy. I'm allergic to romance. Ex-husband number 8 paused for a second, then a smile crept back onto his handsome face. He leaned in and brushed his cheek against my arm. Come on, sis. I had a bad day. Keep me company. Have a few drinks with me? Drinking is fine. Touching is not. I smiled and pushed him away, changed my shoes, and sat down at the table. He propped his chin on his hand, watching me. You're really busy, huh? I asked you out so many times and you never came. Is it because you have other clients besides me? I do. More than I can handle. Gotta make a living somehow. He poured me a glass of red wine and sighed. Honestly, I'm kind of pitiful. I've been in the industry for years, and I still don't see any hope of making it. Oh. Gossip. I downed the wine in one go. The burn hit hard. A little too hard. He leaned closer. So tell me, sis. How do people get famous? I rambled on, half nonsense, half advice, and ended up drinking more than I should have. Then he suddenly looked me over. Hey, how many ex-husbands do you actually have? If I collect that many ex-wives, do you think I'd go viral? Hick, not that many. Just 10. The moment I said it, my head cleared a little. Something was off. Why did it feel like he was fishing? I swayed to my feet, trying to leave. He grabbed me from behind, laughing. 10. That's impressive, sis. The next thing I knew, my head went light. And I collapsed. Through the haze, I saw a woman step out of the bedroom. She was holding a phone. Recording. Wow, Anna. You really know how to play. 10 ex-husbands? Can you even handle that many? Lena. She set me up. I lay there, struggling to prop myself up, looking from her to ex-husband number 8. He shrugged innocently. Sorry, sis. My goddess asked me to get you here. As a loyal fan, how could I say no? So that was it. Ex-husband number 8 was Lena's lapdog. Figures. Walk long enough by the river, and you're bound to get wet. I'd finally slipped. I reached back for my phone while stalling. What do you want? Blackmail me? Lena, I'm not even in the industry anymore. So what if you know I've had 10 husbands? What can you really do? Lena toyed with her phone, red lips curved in a smile. Not much. But if they all find out how many men came before them, do you think they'll still be so devoted to you? Why you, she snapped. You're not as pretty as me, not as hot, not as famous. Why are all your ex-husbands so outstanding? Why do they all protect you? They've all been fooled by your act. Ethan back then, Ryan now, Lucas too. They don't know how disgusting you really are. I'm going to expose you. Right in front of them. At this point, I half expected her to pull out a magic wand and shout something dramatic. Ex-husband number 8 noticed I was secretly calling for help. He snatched my phone, unlocked it with my fingerprint, and flipped through my contacts. Lena, there are only a few people left in her phone. They should all be her ex-husbands. Want me to call them? Yes. Call all of them. I want them to see who she really is. I closed my eyes and gave up. Honestly, I thought she was going to film something far worse. False alarm. Chapter 14. I waited about half an hour. Long enough for the alcohol to start wearing off. Then, a series of sharp knocks sounded at the door. Lena had already planned out her lines. She was ready to perform. The door opened. 3 men stood outside. Ryan. Lucas. And even Ethan. Ryan didn't hesitate. He shoved Lena aside and stormed in. Where's my wife? If a single hair on her head is missing, I'll buy your company, bury you, and make sure you never get work again. Lucas was still in his white coat. He hadn't even had time to take off his surgical gloves. There was fresh blood on them. He pulled the gloves off and stared coldly at Lena and ex-husband number 8. I was told my wife is here. I'm taking her home. Ethan looked at the two of them. Said nothing. Until they both turned on him. You're her ex too. Aren't you going to say something? Ethan loosened his tie. If legal assistance is needed, you can contact me. Lena's eyes reddened with rage. The standoff continued. I was slumped on the couch in the living room. I raised an arm weakly. Ex-husbands, I'm here. Please retrieve me. Ryan rushed over first and pressed his hand to my forehead. Are you okay? Did they do anything to you? I spat. Please. Lucas didn't talk much. He acted. He bent down and lifted me straight into his arms. A perfect bridal carry. And for a man with severe cleanliness issues, he didn't even flinch at the mess on my clothes. I was touched. His gaze swept coldly across everyone in the room. Why did you call us here? Lena froze. It took a moment. Then ex-husband number 8 tugged on her sleeve. She snapped back to reality and blurted out, I called you because I wanted to tell you the truth. This woman, Anna, lied to all of you. Before you, there were many others. You're just number 9 and 10. Aren't you angry? She married you for your money. She'll do anything to climb. She's greedy and shameless. You've all been fooled. No one spoke. The room went silent. I lay in Lucas's arms, watching Lena perform with sympathetic eyes. She thought they were shocked. Encouraged, she continued. I'm doing you a favor, exposing her true colors. The one next to me was tricked too. She sneaks into men's homes late at night. What do you think she's doing there? At that, Ethan frowned first. He strode over, reaching for me, trying to pull me out of Lucas's arms. He underestimated a surgeon's grip. When he failed, his face stiffened, and he grabbed my wrist. Anna. Explain. Why were you at another man's house in the middle of the night? Are you that desperate? Ryan leaned in as well, clearly disapproving. Anna, this one's on you. That place doesn't even have decent wine. You go drinking in some poor guy's apartment, and you ignore my private cellar? Lucas, rare softness in his voice, added, drinking is bad for you. I just came out of surgery. If you're drunk and I can't get to you, I'll worry. Looking at these ex-husbands, all more dramatic than me, I suddenly felt very amateur. I played with my fingers and said cautiously, I know I was wrong. Lena stood there like an idiot. Her perfectly made-up face was about to crack. She stared at them in disbelief. Are you all insane? Or did I not explain clearly enough? She, Anna, has been seeing multiple men behind your backs. Aren't you angry? Lucas's eyes sharpened. Lena, I don't know why you keep maliciously slandering my wife. To me, she is the best wife and a perfect woman. You are also a woman. I suggest you control your hostility. I do not want this to happen again. Otherwise, I will take legal action. Ryan immediately objected. Hold on. Correction. Anna is my wife now. You're at most her ex. Put my wife down. And as for this woman defaming my wife, my family's lawyers will be sending a formal notice. Ethan said flatly, I'm a lawyer. Beautiful. Perfect lineup. Chapter 15. Lena was clearly stunned. None of what she had imagined happened. I wasn't abandoned. I wasn't cursed. I wasn't humiliated. Not a single thing went according to her script. Her expression twisted visibly. Even Ethan frowned and snapped at her. Lena, whatever happened between Anna and me ended a long time ago. Stop going after her. This kind of behavior is beneath you. You're an actress. You should be thinking about your roles, your performances, how to be better on screen, not competing with other women like this. Well said. First time I'd ever heard something remotely human come out of his mouth. I gestured for Lucas to put me down. Then I looked straight at Lena. I don't know why you hate me so much, but I want to make one thing clear. Ethan was the one who pursued me. He was the one who proposed. I didn't steal him from you. You two dragged me into your mess. Deal with your own relationship. And stay out of mine. I staggered over, picked up my bag, and walked out. Ryan and Lucas didn't hesitate. One on each side, they supported me and walked me out. Before leaving, Ryan spat at ex-husband number 8. You're a disgrace to ex-husbands everywhere. Simping for a woman like that? You're going to end up with nothing. Ex-husband number 8 looked like he was about to cry. I may have looked cool walking away. But the moment we reached downstairs, I threw up like my life depended on it. Lucas gently patted my back. Ryan stared at him, then at me. Anna, so that's your previous client? You've got good taste. All your ex-husbands are handsome. You could fill a poker table. And what's with that lawyer? After throwing up, I felt much better. I rolled my eyes at him. He's my first ex-husband. Not a client. Ryan's playful smile faded. The way he looked at me shifted. I waved it off. Thanks for today. That one's on me. I didn't expect number 8 to set me up. Turns out he's Lena's loyal lapdog. I was about to say goodbye. Both of them opened their car doors at the same time. Stared at me. And said in unison, I'll take you home. I'll take you home. They looked at each other. The air instantly felt flammable. What is this? Have my ex-husband started taking this too seriously? This is not how the contract works. I'm a professional. Should we all just take one car? I suggested. Lucas didn't speak. His lips pressed into a thin line. He shot Ryan a cold glance. I don't share cars with strangers. Ryan exaggeratedly pointed at himself. I'm a stranger? I thought about it. Lucas does have mild cleanliness issues. Ryan is loud. And chaotic. And very much not quiet. So I said, then. Lucas, you take me home. His cold expression softened instantly. Okay. He lifted me into the car. And just like that, Ryan was left standing on the sidewalk. Alone. Stunned. I looked back at him with sympathy. Achievement unlocked. Only Ryan was hurt. Chapter 16. Something had started to feel off. I'd always treated my ex-husbands as clients. But apparently, they didn't see it that way. Ever since they became aware of each other's existence, both Ryan and Lucas started showing up far more frequently. Ryan was one thing. He fit the carefree rich boy stereotype anyway. I figured he just found the whole situation amusing and wanted in on the fun. I had no romantic feelings toward him. To me, he was just a friend. Lucas was different. He was the one I'd been married to the longest. He spoke little, always polite, always measured. As a doctor, he had his quirks. I understood them. And truthfully, he was the ex-husband I liked the most. But I also knew there was no future there. We were a transaction. Nothing more. After that night, Lena finally disappeared from my life. I checked my bank balance, did the math, and decided it was time to retire. Change cities. Start over. Leave all this mess behind. Then Ethan started sending things. Bags. Jewelry. Random gifts. I didn't understand what he was trying to do. Compensation, he said stiffly. Emotional damages. Call it whatever you want. Can you convert it into cash? I asked. He froze. You really only care about money? So Lena was right? You married those men for money? Yes, I said lightly. That's exactly it. He left, furious. I blocked him everywhere. A month later, the waiting period ended. Ryan and I finalized the divorce. He still wasn't ready to let go. I have money. And I really do like you. Why won't you give me a chance? We can remarry. Make it real. I smiled. Sorry. I've made enough. When I saw the disappointment on his face, I added gently, think about it. You don't actually like me. You're interested because you found out I have a line of impressive ex-husbands. Because other men are chasing me. It's curiosity. Competition. Ego. Not love. And even if there is feeling, it's not enough. And you're not the one in my heart. Ryan looked at me for a long moment, then gave a bitter laugh. After that, things were quiet for a while. Then a video surfaced. Clips from that night at ex-husband number 8's place. 3 men confronting each other over me. The chaos. The tension. It went viral. I became famous. Infamous, technically. People called me a time management master. Others dug up my social media and asked how I managed to attract so many elite ex-husbands. Some even asked me to sell a course. Sorry. No tutorial available. I'd already retired. Of course, there were haters. People dug up my past. Counted my 10 divorces in 1 year. Investigated my family. My father's bankruptcy. My mother's death. Overnight, I became a public target. Mostly men. Accusing me of playing with people's feelings. Playing with feelings? Please. I barely held hands. I didn't even kiss them. I honestly didn't care. Lucas was the first to call. Do you need help? He asked. No. I'll handle it. Sorry for dragging you into this. He paused. Then said quietly, no matter what, I'm here. Something shifted in my chest. Thank you. I assumed Lena was behind the leak. I was ready to confront her. Then she called. That video wasn't me. It was your actor ex. I've already blacklisted him in the industry. Just letting you know. Anne. I'm sorry about before. I was surprised. Then, before hanging up, she said through clenched teeth, go see Ethan. He can't forget you. I used to think you were my substitute. Now I realize. I never understood men. I lost. I lost to you. The line went dead. I stared at my phone. He can't forget me? Ridiculous. Chapter 17. I transferred every last dollar I'd made this year into my creditors' accounts. When the final debt cleared, I exhaled for the first time in years. It felt like my future was finally mine. Like I could live for myself again. I booked a ticket to Nepal for the next day. That night, when I went out to take the trash, I saw Ethan. His suit jacket was on the ground. His white shirt was wrinkled, buttons undone. He looked unsteady, eyes red. The moment he saw me, he rushed over. Anna, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Please, forgive me. I looked at him calmly, studying his face as if seeing him for the first time. Then I smiled. Sorry. You're just a substitute. He froze. I brushed his hand away. That's your line, returned. Ex-husband number 1. We ended a long time ago. There's nothing to forgive. I'm grateful for what you did for me back then, but we're done. I have my own life now. His expression twisted. He grabbed me and pulled me into his arms. You're lying. I know you still love me. He grabbed my chin, leaned in, trying to kiss me. The next second, his wrist was seized. I looked up. Lucas. Cold. Controlled. Furious. Mr. Walker, Lucas said evenly, you know the law. Forcing yourself on a woman is a criminal offense. He tightened his grip. Ethan hissed in pain and let go. What are you doing here? He demanded. Lucas smiled faintly. He took out a disinfectant wipe and calmly wiped the spot on my face where Ethan had touched. Why can you come looking for Anna, but I can't? Ethan sneered. Don't pretend. I know what this is. You're just playing along. The money you give her, I can pay 3 times that. Lucas didn't answer. He punched him. Hard. Ethan staggered, blood at the corner of his mouth. He stared at Lucas in disbelief. Why did you hit me? Was I wrong? Lucas laughed softly. Under the yellow streetlight, his jawline was sharp, clean. Now I understand why Anna hates you, he said. Because you're disgusting. You didn't protect your first love. You failed as a husband. And you still think money can buy her heart. I hate you, he continued calmly, because you once had her heart, and you wasted it. And now you want to come back and say you regret it? He tilted his head slightly. Do you think you deserve her? Ethan looked at him. Then at me. My hands were clenched. I took a breath, stepped forward, and took Lucas's hand. I looked at Ethan. Lucas is right. You're always so self-centered. You think everyone has to love you. And the moment someone doesn't, you can't stand it. You want them back. But life doesn't work that way. Ethan. Stop bothering me. He didn't say anything. Just stood there, lost. I sighed, then turned to Lucas and smiled. Help me pack. He held my hand and gently rubbed my hair. Of course. But next time you take out the trash, I'm coming with you. You clearly can't handle creeps. I laughed awkwardly. He said nothing more. Just interlaced his fingers with mine and walked me upstairs, never sparing Ethan another glance. Lucas's hand was warm. I tightened my grip. In a city full of lights, nothing compared to the warmth beside me. As we walked, he asked quietly, So, are you remarrying me? I laughed. We'll see. You do have 8 predecessors. He stopped, took a breath. When are you going to tell me about the first 8? When I'm in a good mood. Why did you choose me? You're clean. Who doesn't love a man who's clean, responsible, works hard, and does the housework? He smiled. That's it? And your Princess Carrie is very masculine. The next second, I was lifted into his arms. I gasped and grabbed his collar. Then I looked into his eyes. Bright. Steady. Real. I'm carrying you home, he said. And you can forget all the other ex-husbands.